Oh, I'm just stalling. I'm just stalling. There it is. Ah, okay there. Welcome to another episode of the Troy Graham Experience, Daddy's Lounge, episode number 23. Do you believe it? I'm 23 and 1. 24 shows. I did 24. I showed up for 23 out of my 24 shows. So yeah, I'm 23 and 1. On the way to being 30 and 1. And some good things gonna happen after that. Start having some people's on here to talk about some things. So today's title is a simple one. I miss my father. He passed away a few years ago. But before I get into that, I'm having all these mixed emotions, because yeah, he was my father. I think I only saw him so many times, and you know, he never said too much. He was just he wasn't a talker like me. He would he would talk for a little bit, then he would turn it around on you and start asking you questions because you know, he didn't know what to say to me or anything like that. So he would just flip it around. He's pretty intelligent like that. Handsome dude, tall guy, martial arts master. He was like on Michael John White's level. I seen him. He could pull bark off trees and stuff with his hands. I seen him run up trees, flip and land on his legs. Kick, he kicked the dog in the neck that tried to attack him one time. Boy, I'll never forget that sound. Now, I never seen him fight any men, but I've heard stories about him. Uh, I've heard some stories now, you know, but a lot of people say that, you have is nature over nurture in most cases because I didn't grow up with the man and I probably saw him a total of 6 times, right? But to have, if you listen to my mom and my auntie when she was still alive, my aunt G, they would say, "Yeah, you look just like him, and you walk like him, and when you get vexed, you turn your neck a certain way, just like your father." And I never caught on to that. I mean, if I, and then he was, for some reason, his spirit seemed to be always around. There was I used to spend part of my summers. I lived in the Bronx, so I'd spend part of my summers in Jersey with my auntie and uncle and my cousins. Right? There was a lady, little old lady that lived 4 houses up. Every summer I was there, I would see this little old lady and I would help her with her groceries. She'd be like, "Oh, thank you, you're such a sweet young man." And she tried to put $5, $10 in my hand and I wouldn't accept it, but she would not let me leave without taking that $5 or $10, right? So I said, "Okay, well, thanks, but I wasn't gonna ask her for anything." She's like, "I know you're such a nice young man. You remind me of my nephew. The only difference between you and him is that he's dark. Is that you're dark and he's red." Never decided to. She never asked me my name. I never asked her name. We never got into a discussion about family or any of that. Right? Never. So flash ahead. 17 years later, I'm now 35. My grandmother passes. I go to Jamaica to attend the funeral, and I'm staying with my auntie, who's my father's older sister. So auntie was like, "Look, I want you to come meet your great grand auntie. That's your grandfather's older sister." I said, "Sure, I'd love to meet her." I mean, a lot of stories, right? I go meet this woman. It's the same little old lady from New Jersey, man. Same little old lady from New Jersey. I used to carry her groceries, right? Right. So all she did, she just she just hugged me. She hugged me, hugged me, hugged me, hugged me. I start crying. I start crying. Auntie was like, "You two know each other?" She said, "Yes, this is the young man I told you about. They used to help me with my groceries. That was you?" I said, "Yeah." She kept mentioning about her nephew. My auntie was like, she was talking about your papa. Are you her papa? She did that talk about. I said, all right. 18 years, and we could have shared so much. I didn't even know she owned a little hotel near Montego Bay Airport. And then she passed away a few years after my grandmother passed away. And it was just amazing. I wish I could remember her name. She just, that hug, I'll never forget that hug because she never, ever, ever let me go. You know, she just held on to me until her soul was finished crying. So bring that full circle. That nephew she was talking about, that I look like, that was my father. He's red, I'm dark. Yeah. So he was always, his spirit seemed to be always around. He wasn't physically around all the time with me, but his spirit seemed to be always around. You know, I mean, I was in the park one day across the street from where I lived in the Bronx, playground. I was in the playground. And these two dudes ran up on me, and I was like, it's like they were calling my name. They were like, Troy, Troy, Troy. And I was like, I don't know y'all. Yes, you do. And they told me who they were from. They used to live in the same yard as my father and auntie, and they were friends with my brother. And the first thing they said is like, whoa, you look just like your father. You're just dark. And I'm like, wow. So he was just always around. Always around. You know, his spirit was. But basically, he was the guy that would he was always there if you were in need of, well, back then it was diapers, it wasn't pampers, it was diapers. You need any food, your rent paid, he coming with that money. Don't ask where he get it from, he coming with it. But just to let you know, he was a master electrician, among other things that don't need to be mentioned. So he was a master electrician to the point where he could climb up on the if the city was to turn off the power in your area, you could climb up on the pole, do some work, and reconnect the power for the whole block, for the whole neighborhood. That's how nice he was. And so, he had to register his hands and feet, so he couldn't really leave the island. He was armed and dangerous with his hands and feet. But what I remember about him is this. I remember this about my father is that he never yelled. I never heard him raise his voice. He talked kind of a soft voice. He was, if you didn't know him, he was, in his spirit was very intimidating because his eyes were cold, right? His eyes were very cold. He would look at you and send chills through you. His eyes were just cold, like they didn't have any emotion. And so if you didn't know him, you would be real. You not want to be around you. You'd be standoffish against him. Really, you wouldn't want to be around him. So even though he was handsome and well built and all that, but you know, uh, yeah, he never raised his voice, and he I used to love watching him interact with my auntie, his sister, because you could tell who the family dynamics. You could tell who was the older one and who was the younger one. He was the younger one. She was the older one. Now this man is a master martial artist. Could pull bark off trees, kill dogs with one kick. I mean, don't get vexed about that. And then he could beat men up and all that stuff. But when it came to his sister, he was like this. Yes, Big G. No, Big G. That's what they called each other. Last name, Big G, Little G. Our last name is Graham. So he'd be like, no, Big G. And he would just, and she'd be like, look at me. I'm like, yes. Like one time he took me out for my birthday. I was 15. I went to Jamaica, and he took me out. We went to the movies. We came home, and we got some champagne, and we finished the whole bottle. We just kept drinking. He wasn't a drinker, and of course, at 15, I was no damn drinker. But he said, "I'm not giving you no rum, but I'm gonna give you some champagne." So we got the champagne and ate. And then his landlord came to the door in lingerie in lingeries. I was 15, and she was woof. She had that Jack Hay body from back in the day, just bad all over the place, and she was dark, just like me, right? So he was like, you know, he went outside to talk to her, closed the door, and I could hear him say, "My son is here. I can't have any company. My son's here." Well, I heard him say, I'll see you after I drop him back." So, he came back in the room with this guilty smile on his face, right? And he was just like, well, you know. So I said, "That's your landlord?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. And soon to be the mother of of your next sibling, probably a sister this time." And I'm like, "You do realize I'm only 15. I don't want to have that picture in my head." I mean, I didn't say that, but that's the way I felt. Back then, you didn't say that to your father, like your box in the mountain, right? But he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put a baby in her." I'm like, I don't want to hear this. And then he asked me, and then he went on to a whole other conversation, asked me about school and life, and he said, "You don't want to have any kids early, and when you find a good woman, you have kids with her." I'm like, "You have children with multiple women. You can't give me that advice." He could, but it's just sound kind of strange coming from him. So then he was like, "How's your mom?" He always asked me for my mother, always, always, always. And she was like, "Yeah, man, I really loved your mom. She was my beauty queen. She was in the newspaper when she was younger. She was so beautiful." And I'm sitting there as a 15-year-old, like, this is another conversation I don't want to have with you. I mean, that's good that mom was beautiful, but I'm the son that doesn't. I think he kept saying he kept the picture from the newspaper, but he never got around to showing it to me. Or did he? Or did I just block all that out because that was my mother? I don't even remember. But you know, this dude had no filter with me whatsoever when I was a child, none. And I remember how he used to deal with my grandmother. My grandmother would reach out to my auntie if if she needed to communicate to my father. She'd reach out to my auntie. Next day, he'd come to the yard, right? And she'd be like, "Mr. G, Troy need this and Troy need that." And he's like, "Well, just make me a list and I'll have it for you by tomorrow on the end of the day." So she would give him this list and he would just go get it. Period. He would just go get it. Come back, pull up his car, and he would just have it. You know? Nobody wanted to know where it came from. And nobody ever asked. But I remember he used to hold my grandmother's hand, look her in the eye. She's like, Mr. G, I need you to be here for your son." He said, "I know. I know. I'm going to be there, man. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there." He was and he wasn't. He was more of the type that was a provider, but emotionally, he didn't express a whole lot of feeling. So he didn't have the emotional time to give me. But he made sure that I had what I needed for my understanding. I didn't, you know, these are stories that were being told to me. No one ever said didn't provide because he was always providing. And then there was another time again when he didn't have no filter. I went to Jamaica. I was 9 years old. So I was there in the yard. We lived across the street from each other, right? Tenement yard and all that. So I went over to the my father's yard and I saw my brother there, my older brother, and we start talking. And there were these little kids playing marbles, And one of them was so rude, he was cussing out his mind. And my brother finally yanked him up and said, "Shut your mouth." I said, "Who is this boy?" He said, "Oh, yeah, this is our brother." He was 6. Yeah, so it was 6, 9, and 13. That was the age difference. And I was like, really? This is how I get introduced to him? This little rude boy? Just cussing. And he's like, "Who's this foreigner?" Because, I spoke like this. I didn't speak with patois and all that. He's like, "Who's this foreigner?" And he's like, "This foreigner's your brother." Try. He knew all about me. Try, is that you, the foreigner? And I'm like, stop calling me that, little boy. What y'all call boy? And he was just ready to fight. Oh, Garfield was his name. Ready to fight. So that was the first and only time we ever were in the same place. The first and only time my brothers and I, my father, were ever first and last time we were only in the same space. I wish somebody would have took a picture. Well, when you're a child, you're not really thinking that would be the last time. So, but yeah, it was just, and it was. I remember going to Crossroads with my father. Crossroads is like this big downtown area in Kingston, Jamaica, right? So we went there to see a Kickers, was a kung fu movie, and so we went there. And that movie theater caught on fire, and my father was like, "We leaving." Everybody was rushing for the front door. The way they came in, my father was like, "We're gonna leave through this back door here," and we got out faster than everybody else did. You know, they he asked us if we wanted ice cream, and I was like, "Yeah." I had on a white T-shirt, and we were walking and eating the ice cream in Crossroads, and somebody bumped me, and the ice cream got all over my T-shirt. And the man didn't stop, so my father walked up to him and said, "Hey, you bumped my son, and his ice cream went all over his shirt. Tell him, apologize to him." He's like, "I'm not apologizing to your son," you know. And then it was the next man behind him. I was tapping him on the shoulder, then he whispered something in his ear, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. I didn't know that was you." So I don't know who he told this, what his friend told him about my father, but his whole demeanor went from high up to like very apprehensive. Like, I don't, you're above my crep, you're above my pedigree. I can't. I didn't mean any disrespect. I didn't mean any disrespect. You're above my pedigree, and it was like that. And I had to go home. I think he went and stopped and bought me another shirt, and I had to throw that shirt away. And I never got a chance to finish that damn ice cream, which was so good. It was a chocolate sundae or something like that. Jamaican ice cream is kind of different from American ice cream, but it was good. And so he was like, "Well, what did y'all turn to me, my brother, my older brother?" He's like, "What did y'all learn today?" And I'm like, "What? The movie theater caught on fire?" He's like, "No. Did you learn about respect?" Oh, don't let nobody walk over you. And that was it. That's all he said. And we looked at each other like, okay. And then he's just like, you need to go home and let your grandmother know you're back. If she lets you back out, you'll come over and hang out with your brother. All right. So I went home and let my grandmother know I was back. And she was like, "Yeah, you can go hang out with your brother." And so I hung out with my brother, and that was what, the third time I seen him. Then I have a picture of me when I was 6 or 9 with my father, which I wish I knew what that was. I wish I knew. I was standing on a chair because he was tall, and I had a big old, just proud child, proud son smile on my face. So I was just beaming with light. I was so happy to see him and everything, you know. And then I had a years passed by, and I had a son. And my auntie, I sent her a picture, I believe. I sent her a picture of my son, and she was like, "Whoa, he looked just like your father," right? And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, you don't see it?" I was like, "Well, I didn't see it then, but they're twins now. They're the spitting images of each other now. My son's 24, so mind you, I didn't see that man again till the last time I saw my father was 15. Then the phone rang 16 years later, and it was him. And I never, because I never spoke to him on the phone, I didn't recognize his voice. So here I am, 31, and I've never spoke to my father on the phone. So he was like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah. How you doing?" I said, "I'm good." It was strange. And he's like, "Yeah, I wanted to. I heard you had a grandson. I saw the picture. He looked just like me. I want to talk to him." I'm like, "Well, he's one. He really ain't got too much to say." But so I put him on speaker and let him talk to his grandson. And my son was just like, like most babies. You don't know what he's talking about. But he listened though. I could tell he was listening. And when he got older, I told him, "You're the only grandson that got to speak to my father." He was like amazed at that. So he talked to him for a long while, longer than he ever spoke to me. Just a long time, just saying he was sorry and tell your dad when you get older, "I'm sorry for not being there," and da 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 da. Like long, but I love you. And he told my son he loved me. He never told me he loved me. But he told my son. He's like, "Okay, well, thank you. I'm gonna keep in touch." Yeah, that didn't happen because I'm 54. He died probably 4 years ago. Yeah, probably 4 years ago or five, 4 or 5 years ago. I really don't remember. But a bittersweet moment because Auntie had passed, so she couldn't tell me. My older brother now lives in New York, so he couldn't tell me. And none of his family, other than that, knew how to contact me. But I had a dream, and if it kicked my spirit. Then my mother called me up the next day, and she said, I have a feeling your father died." And I said, "Yeah, he did." That was, and that cemented it right there because my mom wouldn't just call out the blue and say that. That was the spirit moving her. So yeah, he passed in 2020, leaving behind two sons and three grandsons. Yeah, because my other brother passed on as well, my younger brother. Well, yeah, it's amazing the things you remember. I mean, I never speaking to your own father on the phone to the point where you don't know his voice. And I probably wouldn't even recognize him if I walked past him on the street because it's been 39 years since I last saw him. But he passed. He passed. And rumor has it that I have a sister in Jamaica somewhere, but I probably never know. I just have to, when I do go back, I got to be mindful of women that are 15 years younger than me. That's all. Wow, that was meant to be funny, but it didn't come across that funny, did it? No, it did not. So yeah, today. I'm just reminiscing, missing my father. But here's the blessed thing, though. I have two fathers, so I have the man that brought me to the world and the man that raised me. So the only difference is I can't, like I told my father, like I can't ask you the same questions I would ask my biological father about, you know, who I am and how I came to why I react to things this way or that, or is there anybody else in the family reacts to things like that as well? I don't have. There's no one I can ask those questions of, or I can't ask about my grandparents and all that. because there's no one left for me to ask those questions to. I mean, I knew that my great grandparents were Cuban. I think that was on my father's side, so my grandfather, right? They were Cuban, and somebody in the family was from Panama. But I don't know the entirety of that story. I do know where my family is from in Jamaica, which I'm not going to say because, you know, just not. And I do know that my genes are very pronounced because when I went to the airport, I was at BWI buying a ticket to Jamaica uh, 21 years ago. The ticket agent took a look at me and she's like, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "Yeah." "Are you from Jamaica?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And she said, "You're a Graham." Not Graham, Graham. So I gave her a look. I said, "How did you know that?" I didn't even give her my ID yet. She's like, "Yes, you're definitely one of them Graham from wherever in Jamaica, right?" So I said, "Yes." But I asked her, "Well, how did you know?" And she starts laughing. She said, "It's the mouth and the teeth," meaning my gap in my lips. It's your mouth and your teeth. And I could not stop laughing. Just by that, she said, "Yeah, just by looking at you." And it's also the way you walk. So my gap and my big lips gave me, let the world know I'm a Graham, but it's something about my walk. Something about my walk. I don't know what the Graham walk is, but it exists. It exists. So that's what I was thinking today. That I won't be able to find anything else about my legacy, about my past, and the heritage I have over there, and all that, the Graham legacy. But my kids are here, my children. The three sons, the granddaughter, all Graham. They're here. And like I tell my sons, ever since they were little, ask me anything. I'm going to tell you, even if it makes me look bad, I'm going to tell you. Because I don't want you to ever say, well, he lied to us or he wasn't very open with us. Nope. You ask, you get it. You get it, you know? Because I'm incomplete in that sense where I just don't know. So many questions. I have stories of my auntie telling me, "Yeah, your granddaddy loved you like crazy, right?" I think my grandmother died young, so I never got a chance to, even as a baby, I never got a chance to meet her. But my grandfather, he was a boxer. How about that? And the name was Sugar Graham. So that's where that comes from, right? The boxing. He was nice with it, from my understanding. He was nice, nice. He could fight his way out of a bar, which he did quite a few times. He was nice like that. He used to go by himself and he just hustled people on the pool table. There's a guy named Cassius Clay that was fighting on the radio. He used to win people money off that guy. I am the greatest of all time. So yeah, Rap Pops was like that, from my understanding. Yeah, but I have no pictures of him. I have no memories of him at all. You know? Wow. Just wow. So what more can I say about the man? He's just in life. When it comes down to it, you have to take the good with the bad. I mean, he did provide. Don't no lying to that. Everybody said that. My mother, my auntie, hell, everybody. My grandmother, she said it too. You didn't go hungry. Only he took care of you. Okay. Look like I had something in my goatee here. But yeah, so he definitely took care of me. He just he would only stay for an hour in most cases. Didn't really spend too much time. But emotionally, he was kind of limp. Best way I could put it. He didn't share himself with anyone. He was kind of emotionally limp, and so that was that. That was that. That was the fun part of it right there. But just the stories that I used to hear all the daggone time. I mean, my auntie told me that some guy owed him money, and he was playing my father like a joke and didn't want to pay him his money. So my father said, "I'll be over by your block tomorrow. You better have my money." Right? The guy was like, "You crazy? You coming over here by yourself? You gonna get shot up." And he said, "We'll see." So he went over there, knocked on the guy's door. Man came outside. Next thing you know, a couple of other people came out to the yard. So from my understanding, it was 10 men. My father put down every last one of them, kicked them in their mouth, all of that, kicked their knees back. Just, he took them all out. Just beat them. But he didn't kill anybody. And then he went to the man, dragged the man off and said, "Where's my money?" The man was like, "It's in the back of the TV." So he's like, "Go get the TV. It's mine anyway." So he took the TV, which really was his TV, and when he got home, he took it apart, and the money was there. It was there, and he got it back, and he beat up all those men. I don't know if it was really 10, but when my auntie was telling me, because she was in the passenger seat of the car and waiting for him, and she went out to see what was going on, and she said, "Yes, in his dress shoes, he kicked them all up." Yeah, I won't forget that story. I think my brother said, "Yeah, I've seen him do stuff like that." My older brother. Yeah, I wish I could see him now so he could see his grandkids and his great grandchild. That would definitely be a blessing. That'll be what, one, two, three, 4 generations. Four. Who knew? Who knew? Wow. 4 generations. Can you believe that? Mm-mm-mm. Him, me, that's two. The grandkids, three, and the great grandchild, four. Wow. I'm too, I can't believe it. But as it stands right now, it's 3 generations. And I am the spearhead of all of that. Since my father is no longer around, I am the king now. I'm responsible for the sons that came into the world. And without my son, I'd have no granddaughter. Sorry. I have a habit of doing that. All these years y'all saw me on here, you should be used to it. But yeah. Oh, he also had a heart issue. That's where I get it from. Just so similar with he and I. He had a that's what killed him actually. That's what he died when he was 75. So it was 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago. He died when he was 4 years ago. And he was 75 and I was 50. Hmm. I did some math and figured it out. Mm. But that's what happens, y'all. It's when you miss your dad, you just want to reminisce. And then you look around your life and say, wow, I got 3 boys. Three. So I got my father and myself over again times three. This son of mine, the oldest one, looks just like him. I'm gonna try and get him on here and put up a picture. But you know what? Man, I'll let it hang out for a little bit more. It's okay. Let her cry. Let it go for about 5 more minutes. Then I'm gonna bid y'all au revoir. I still remember that man telling me that he's gonna have a baby with his landlord. He must have, because he ain't paying on that. He ain't paying out a dime. Call him the beatbox. Yeah. And then I wish you could see the look in his eyes when he's talking about my mother. He was still in love with my mom, man. He's like, yeah, that's my beauty queen right there. He said, no, I wouldn't let rain fall on her when she was with me. His beauty queen. Yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, I'm going to bid you good night and thank you for stopping by. And like I said, next month, I'm going to pick up the pace and start having other fathers on here and mothers as well. And we're going to open this thing up. Right now, I'm going through the growing pains of figuring out where I want to go and what I want to do. Because this is the first time I'm doing a show about fathers. As you know, I've always done boxing. So I know boxing. I know fathers too, but for me to come on here and jump around and act all exciting and carrying on, that's just not my nature, you know. But I will eventually have a counterpart so we could do some yin and yang back and forth on here. But again, I want to thank you all for coming out, and y'all have a good night. Bless up yourself. See you Wednesday, same experience time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Same experience channel, Detroit Graham Experience, and same experience face. Thank you. All right.